epitomize this. I'm going to go to Dr. Group on Ebola. I'm ranting, but Dr. Group, before we get into Ebola and the shocking news on that front today, talking about the awakening. I mean, I've had dinner with you, hung out with you and your wife last week when you were here in town. You're a really smart guy. You were in Army Special Operations, did a lot of interesting things. You've seen behind the curtain. What do you call this awakening, and am I overestimating it or underestimating it?
No, I think that, you know, like yourself, I mean, I'm really involved at looking at more or less the eugenics part of it, how everything ties together with the healthcare. Hey, I was, like you said, you were a Republican. I was all into pharmaceuticals and wanted to be a medical doctor until I started finding out the truth and started digging deeper and digging deeper. And now I'm looking at it as, what's going on and how this is affecting the masses all over the world. And I think that we're at a tipping point. I mean, we're at the maximum. Well, I wouldn't say maximum, but like you said, I mean, even
we're approaching the maximum. We're approaching event horizon.
Houston, I'm starting to see Homeland Security cars driving around. We have a whole building being built downtown for Homeland Security. So you see Homeland Security working with the local police departments. But at the same time, I have Houston Police Department officers that come by here that tell me that they see what's going on inside. They are waking up. So it's a 50-50 thing. You have the positive and the negative. Sometimes you have more negative, and then all of a sudden you'll have more positive. So it's really, I would say, the strongest fight right now in healthcare, in politics, I mean, all the way around, which is happening, and people are waking up. I'd like to think people would wake up a little bit faster, but the main thing that I've been focusing on is teaching people how to wake up by getting healthier and supporting their body's natural immune system and supporting their self-healing mechanism, because really that's what it all comes down to. I mean, if you look at every single aspect that the globalists have used through poisoning the air and the food and the water, I mean, it's all designed really to dumb you down, to make you mentally retarded, to lower your IQ levels, to affect your body so you're sick, to instill fear into your system, which drops your immune system by 50%. So getting the word out to people about how they can keep their immune system strong, how they can keep their bodies clean, how they can avoid all that, how they, just knowing the information, how they can protect themselves against fear. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest things out here, with this Ebola.
The way I do it is I take action against something, and then that calms me down and makes me feel good.
Well, exactly. I'm not scared of anything because I've taken action, and many of your listeners have taken action too. They know what to do. I mean, if you know what to do with an Ebola outbreak, if you know what to do with a pandemic, you've prepared for all that. You've got food storage. You've got a place to go. You've stocked up on, silver. You've stocked up on iodine. You've stocked up on the things that are going to protect your cells, DNA force, all that stuff that's there to protect you and to boost your own immune system and to keep your body strong, and you have a plan, then there's nothing to fear. I mean, if you understand how the globalists and how all those individuals operate, and you just look at why are they breaking all the rules here? Why is Obama signing executive order to, that can force
That's it. They're moving on all fronts now. They don't care anymore. I've never seen so much corruption. What does that signify to you as an indicator?
Just the fact of how they've handled this Ebola situation, if you look at the supposedly pandemics in the past with swine flu, H1N1, I would say this is by far the worst scenario that we've been in, just because the way the government and the World Health Organization is handling the situation, bringing people into uninfected countries. I mean, this is like insane. You quarantine an area with a potential pandemic. You never fly people into the United States and fly people into other countries. And now with what you're saying with the funeral homes and everything, I would say, with the connections to the vaccinations, with them being able to forcibly vaccinate, that's a whole nother thing. Get out of a densely crowded, populated city as fast as you can. But more importantly is just make sure that you have what you need for you and your family.
I was about to say, I'm just going to stay away from crowds if it actually gets in the population. I mean, clearly, I don't think it's going to get that bad over here. I hope it doesn't show up over here. It may already have. They're reporting on CBS News. But it's going to be the fear the government puts out in the vaccine they roll out, like the polio vaccine that they admit gave people polio, like my grandmother. Here's CBS News for folks that just joined us. North Texas Hospital evaluating patient for potential Ebola exposure. Ebola alert, U.S. patient 0 suspected in Dallas. Travel history and symptoms suggest infection. Plans for mass graves confirmed. Infowars.com. Dallas Hospital, possible Ebola patient. 9 News, Ebola. And then I've got my other report here by Paul Joseph Watson up on Infowars.com, the one we were just mentioning. CDC warns funeral homes in the U.S. to prepare for Ebola victims. They've never done this before. Why would they bring Ebola patients in, Dr. Group? Why would they do that? And then start saying get ready for it. I mean, it looks premeditated.
There's, everything that's been happening in the last 5 years has pretty much been right in our face, and they're getting to the point now where they don't even care. It used to be kind of secretive, but now they're doing it right in front of you, and they're reporting it on the news. We're bringing Ebola patients right into the U.S., and, they're just testing the reactions and the reactions of the general population and seeing what they're going to do, and they just keep pushing it further and further and further to the limit, and nobody's doing anything about it except us. There are a select group of people that are calling us, finding, hey, listen, how is this happening? What can we do to protect ourselves? But it's the more that they push, also, the more that they can create fear. And then you have that 80–90% of the population out there that says, government, we depend on you. What are you going to do for us? And they start calling and pushing the CDC and the World Health Organization into vaccines. And, they'll line up at every single drugstore all day long. If a vaccine came out tomorrow, an Ebola vaccine, and it was distributed through every drugstore in the United States, the scary thing is 80–90% of the population would run down there with their kids and everything and take an untested vaccination. And not only that, you have stuff that's going on in the United States right now, these weird respiratory illnesses that are affecting the children all over the place, the adults, the amendment Obama signed that they can physically detain anyone
for any respiratory illness. Yeah, he did that a couple months ago, and then magically this starts, and then they admit it's linked to the vaccines. We had Dr. Blaylock, brain surgeon, medical doctor, on yesterday. He was saying it's called mutations from the vaccines, causing other viruses in the gut to then mutate. I mean, and that they all know this, so it's clearly on purpose. Incredible. I want to shift gears briefly. A couple months ago, I guess 12 weeks ago, we came out with DNA Force, the most powerful formula ever, literally on record doing amazing things inside the body. And I've been taking it even before it came out. Everybody in my family that's taken it has been blown away. It's the flagship of InfoWarsLife.com products. Spend a couple minutes telling people what's in DNA Force that you helped us develop with my dad. Break down what this formula does, and when people purchase it, it also supports the transmission.
Yeah, this is actually an amazing formula, and just the response from the people that got the DNA Force from InfoWars. I've had people contact me. It's amazing, and the reason why we developed it is because there's such an attack on the cells. I mean, if you look at the body, what causes aging? What decreases cellular function? What harms the cells? And those are all free radicals. It's free radical damage from all of the chemicals that you're ingesting in the food and the beverage and everything else. And if you're sick, the immune system has to work extra hard. Stress is causing an immune deficiency in the majority of people over 35 right now. Lack of sleep. So, looking back, it's all about looking at the root cause of what's going on in the body. And if the cells are being attacked, our main mission was to be the first company in the world working with your dad to develop a product because, again, we're really big on cleansing and cleansing and cleansing, and that's great for the cells, but a lot of people out there want the extra ability to protect their cells from free radical damage and to, you know, slow down the aging process. I mean, the anti-aging market out there is an incredible market.
And for folks that don't know, this is a whole bunch of patented, certified, organic compounds we'll talk about when we come back from break and hit some other Ebola news, that we're even able to actually say what it does. You don't see that with other supplements because they're not this nutraceutical level of just absolutely certified ingredients.